Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show. We give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is Mark Ellis.
Welcome one and all to the best movie news show in the entire galaxy, live from our home studios here in the arcade at Treasure Island.
Oh, come on.
So happy you guys could join us today. On today's program, we have that little Infinity War trailer to talk about, and Daphne and Velma from Scooby-Doo. Guess what? You're getting your own motion picture, we think, probably. Scrappy-Doo, you might be up next. Who's joining me today?
Jon Schnepp.
Hey, what's going on? I woke up super early this morning and watched that Infinity trailer several hundred times.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I lost count. It's we're going to talk about it. What's up?
Kristian Harloff.
Dennis and Schnepp, they're all like, I woke up at 4:30 to watch a trailer. I was up at 4:30, not to watch a trailer.
Why were you up at 4:30?
I was feeding children.
I hope they were your own and not just
No,
weirdos from the
I
neighborhood.
was running around just throwing candy bars at kids at 3,
Yikes.
4 in the morning.
Here comes the man with the weird bottle of milk. Well, we make that transition into the Avengers Infinity War trailer. You know, yesterday we talked about a cool little news story that involved the Avengers, and now, holy crap, we got some more in that well. What is it?
Marvel Studios has finally released the first trailer for Avengers Infinity War. Joe Russo and Anthony Russo, the filmmakers behind Captain America the Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War, directed both Infinity War and Avengers 4, the latter of which is still in the midst of production. Infinity War is the first part in a 2-part culmination and finale to the MCU as we know it, and will land in theaters on May 4th, 2018. Mark, thoughts on the first trailer for Avengers Infinity War?
Well, I have a lot of questions to ask the sweatiest of all the sweaties, Jon Schnepp. Namely, is that a goatee or is that just how Thanos' chin looks? But before we get into all that, it was just so awesome. This was such a great trailer, and why it was awesome for people like me who are at, what's the name of the convention?
A Z28?
Yeah, Z28, Disney's convention that they do every so often. We saw the trailer, and then there was a totally other trailer that we got today. I think the estimate's like 70 to 75% new footage that we got to check out, and even some things that were in the D23 trailer that weren't in here. So it was fun to mix and match and be like, oh, I saw that. I haven't seen that yet. But this was so cool to see a lot of the character shots, to see all the this person's in it and this person's in it, and then hear that Avengers music, but very differently than we've heard it in the past. This felt so much darker and so much more ominous. Rewatching the trailer, I was able to pick out moments that might have some levity in there, the typical MCU humor that we're used to, but by and large, this looks scary. This looks like we're not going to be cracking a whole lot of jokes. Love the tag. Love seeing Thor look at the Guardians of the Galaxy and then being like, oh, okay, yeah, so they're in it too. It was just such a well-done trailer. So great to see Cap back, beard or no, Black Panther, all of them charging in together. There's just a nonstop gushing about all the greatness that we saw. But Schnepp, I go back to you because Thanos is finally that imposing villain that everybody's been waiting for. Now, I've liked some of the villains in the MCU to date, namely most recently in Thor Ragnarok. I thought Hela was great. Kate Blanchett, very scary figure indeed. Thanos is a new step forward. He's looking for more Infinity Stones.
Yeah, it's not a goatee. It's like very similar to what the Skrulls look like. They have these like weird kind of soup catcher folds in their chin that they can constantly get some flavor from. I don't know. It's a weird look, but I'm really happy with looks. I mean, well, I think we're with this movie. It feels like we're going to be passing the uncanny valley because it feels like a real character. I know what I'm looking at is a CG creation. It's fake, but it honestly it looks like a real purple giant alien. So that's probably a little easier than a human being. I think as long as you're like giant or whatnot. But yeah, for me, this trailer was fantastic. I loved. For me, my favorite scenes were outside of just them, seeing all of the Avengers assembled, charging in and whatnot was give that man a shield, and also seeing Vision getting his stone pulled out of his head.
That was painful.
I didn't like that part. I mean, because I don't want to see that yet. I want to see that in the movie. I didn't want to know that was going to happen to him because I didn't. And I wish that, I mean, the trailer, by the way, was incredible, but I just wish that there was a couple things that they wouldn't have shown. I now know, I mean, we kind of assumed it anyway, but Winter Soldier's back because last we saw him, he was frozen, so we know he's back now. They revealed that in the trailer. Captain America was on kind of a run or a hiatus. We know he's coming back, that reveal is a little bit okay. I think that one you need him back in this, so to show that that's how he's going to come back. Okay, but I think that the Vision thing and the Winter Soldier thing, they could have stayed hidden and still done the same impact. They showed a lot of images from the D23, but certainly like that much.
Yeah.
And I think that I love the fact that they're finally bringing back Alan Silvestri's score to bring back that main score. It does do a lot when you have a recognizable theme for your heroes, for any movie in general. And when they bring it back, Kevin Feige, when him and I always forget, what's the guy's name that they split off from that runs TV?
Perlmutter.
Perlmutter.
So when they split up, because Perlmutter, from what I heard, the rumors were that Perlmutter was the one that was always kind of stiffing the composers and didn't want to pay the composers. And if the calculations or the rumors are true that Feige is bringing them all back, I love Feige even more.
You know, when Peter Parker's hair stands up, that's something that we did see at D23. Then you get to see the new look Spider-Man in action, and that was one of my favorite parts of this trailer. You bring up an interesting premise, though, is that a lot of the complaints about Justice League in retrospect were that we didn't see Superman at all in the promotional material. Now here, we do see characters that we weren't sure were going to be back in there. Do you think they showed too many of those characters?
Yeah, I do. I think that there was... the comparison with Superman and Captain America is a great comparison because I do think that they should have shown Captain America.
And they both have facial hair of some sort now.
Well, because it's the Avengers. And so you want to know if he's coming back, and it's not right if Captain America is not part of this thing. So, yeah, but I don't think you needed to show the difference. You're selling Justice League with Superman. You're not selling the Avengers with the Winter Soldier or with Vision getting the thing taken out of his head or even showing a human form of Vision.
And it also would have lent itself to some sort of post-credit scene, which may still happen in Black Panther because we know that the Winter Soldier may be hanging out in Wakanda deep, underground, submerged, where he should stay, by the way. Schnepp, overall, do you think that the characters that we got to see in here were satisfying to you from a promotional standpoint, or do you think that Marvel could have played their cards closer to their vest and still done a good job of selling us the movie?
I think they did a great job. I mean, we literally saw 2 set pieces. We saw one in Wakanda and one in New York. I mean, we kept alternating between those 2 areas where there's like some kind of weird, ring-like disc thing floating in the sky, and that's where one battle is going to take place, and then the other is like in Wakanda with all the Wakandans and the Avengers, everyone assembled, charging after some kind of weird, like, I don't know what those creatures were, weird, dog monster with 6-armed things. I mean, it's like, it's so quick, like that charging shot. You're like, I haven't had too much time to like get like ultra pixely, like, yes, I can see it. So I don't know what they are.
I had to slow mo it a couple times because I saw Spider-Man get thrown to the ground with a cool new suit, and I was like, who's doing that? And then it's like, oh God, I think that was Thanos. Holy crap, that is some scary stuff. Ashley, I don't know if you were aware of this, but I went to D23 and I saw a very different trailer than today. So you got to see this after hearing all the hype from us for so long.
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
Well, no moon, first and foremost. I thought the hair scene was absolutely hilarious. It reminded me of when I got out of the shower and I forgot to near my arms. And I love seeing the Winter Soldier in there, but it's a trailer that I'm going to have to watch like 1,000 more times to digest it because there's a lot going on. But first impressions, I really liked it.
Did you enjoy the tag at the end when you see Thor?
Yes.
And it's like, then you get the reveal of the Guardians.
It was like, hee.
Yeah, and it's funny because in the trailer that they had shown at the cons, he didn't have the patch on his eye because Thor hadn't come out. So it was they now did that. But when does this come out? May?
Yeah. 2018.
May 4th. May the 4th be with you. That's
this is the first time I think that a Marvel movie is going to be able to trounce a Star Wars movie in box office. In a
Certainly got a good shot. I mean, not only because that's going up against the Han Solo movie, which is going to come out a few weeks later in 2018, which I'm sure is going to do fine, but this had less hiccups, I think, in production than Han Solo did. We still haven't seen any Han Solo footage yet, but I think Disney is probably going to have a pretty good month on the whole in May.
Yeah, well, you brought it up as far as, we're still going to get some jokes, but not in the way we did Avengers 2, and I think that's what Joss Whedon was there for. You can tell the difference in when you see what the Russo brothers have done in all of their movies, because there was humor in Civil War. There certainly was.
Tons of it.
There's a lot of it. But
there was even humor in the Civil War trailer, which I
true.
found. I was like,
No,
wait,
you're right.
how seriously are we taking this?
This is an ominous. This movie absolutely. You're 100% right. But I'm just saying that I think that this is what the Russo brothers do very well. They that's where Joss Whedon does it well too, but he markets with humor. And there was some marketing in the Civil War. You saw some of the jokes, but it was the intense action. Same thing with Winter Soldier. Same thing with this movie. And this is what the Russo brothers do so well and funny, considering that they made their mark in with Community.
Yeah, Schnepp, when we were talking about which character we think might not make it out of either Infinity War or Avengers 4, we weren't necessarily thinking about going up against Thanos one-on-one. Which of the Avengers from this brief trailer we got to see do you think has the best shot at taking him down, or at least putting up a good fight? I mean, he threw Spider-Man with that cool new suit right to the ground. Tony Stark shows up not only as Iron Man, but also in the Hulkbuster. You have the Incredible Hulk himself, Black Panther doing the shit, which is weird to see Black Panther do this. And because anytime a character does this, I expect the claws of Wolverine to come out. And he's just got these cute little kitty claws, which are still very scary.
Right.
So who's got the best chance one-on-one against Thanos?
They are made of vibranium, Mark. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Who's got the best chance? Boy, that's a rough one because
Hawkeye.
Yeah, Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch does have a good chance because of her hex powers, and I'm not joking there. I mean, anything he does, she can hex and almost either reverse or make it go the wrong way. So, and I think she's going to be pissed after her boyfriend gets his gem stolen. So, I would almost say Scarlet Witch has the biggest chance to like screw up his plans, especially with the Infinity Gauntlet, even if he gets all the gems, just because of her hex power. And look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Everyone else, they don't stand really a chance. I mean, Hulk is probably going to go toe-to-toe with Thanos and get his ass beat.
I mean, he can't pick him up like he did Loki and just toss him around. But I wonder if Doctor Strange is going to attempt the same thing that he did at the end of the Doctor Strange movie. He just keeps doing. You know what? He just keeps taking mulligans. He's like me playing golf. He just keeps hitting the ball into the water until eventually he gets it over, and then he defeats that villain. So how is that not going to work against Thanos?
Because I think that Thanos will probably get that stone.
Yeah,
one of the things too.
That's one of the stones, and even if he doesn't have it yet, he'll probably get it from Strange.
I think that we're not looking at. You're talking about Avengers 3 or 4. Who's going to take him out, right?
Yeah.
We're forgetting about Captain.
Well, it's going to be. I mean, look, it's going to be a team.
Yeah.
But who stands the best one-on-one?
Do you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, I think, has a good shot too.
That's a good one.
I think because once they set her up, and she's gonna. I don't think she'll be in this movie, but she'll be in the next one. And when she comes back, then I think we'll maybe. And I think Scarlet Witch is also a great call. I think that she's going to, because we've seen what happens when she gets pissed off.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like with all this time jumping, like we keep seeing pics of like World War II and then a flashback of Loki and Thor. So obviously we see Loki handing over the cube to Thanos, is my guess. He's handing over the cosmic cube to Thanos. I feel like there's going to be some time jumping going on, and whether or not that's Doctor Strange and Thanos jumping through time, or whether it's a bunch of Avengers going into the quantum world.
Is that maybe how they get Captain Marvel? Because it takes place in the 90s?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, very interesting to see. You could also throw Ant-Man in the mix if he tries the big Ant-Man thing like he did in Civil War, but he's probably going to attempt it. Won't work out with the same benefit that it did in that movie. The Avengers Infinity War movie comes out May 4, 2018. Let us know right now. Comment and let us know your thoughts on the Avengers Infinity War trailer. What was your initial reaction to it? I am slurping the hell out of it. And now we move on to the movies that the National Board of Review is slurping this year. What are their favorites, Ash?
The National Board of Review has announced honorees for its 2017 awards. Steven Spielberg's The Post took top honors with Best Film, with the full top 10 also debuting and reprising a diverse group. They include Baby Driver, Call Me By Your Name, The Disaster Artist, Downsizing, Dunkirk, The Florida Project, Get Out, Lady Bird, Logan, and Phantom Thread. Schnepp, thoughts on the National Board of Review's Best Picture and top 10 list for 2017?
Looks like a pretty quality list. I still have a bunch of those films that I have to see myself, but I'm very happy, obviously, to see Lady Bird on there, The Disaster Artist, Baby Driver, Dunkirk. I think all those movies are incredible. Get Out was fantastic. I can't wait to see The Florida Project, and I haven't seen The Post yet, and I'm glad Logan made it on there. It deserves it.
Yeah, there's a lot of great movies on there, and also it's interesting to see that you have some blockbusters and some movies that came out earlier in the year still getting recognition from the National Board of Review, which, by the way, so they have their best movie of the year, The Post, and they have their 10 runner-ups, and the Oscars now has 10 slots, so this could look a lot like what we see for the Best Picture nominees. Kristian, you are probably, at this point in time, the most educated on these movies as far as somebody who's actually gotten their eyeballs on them. So out of this, what stands out to you? What surprises you?
Well, Logan surprises me. I'm glad. I'm with Schnepp. I think that I was worried that, A, because it's the genre that it's in, and B, because it came out in, March. So, and good on them for recognizing a great movie. Doesn't matter what genre it is. It's a great film and deserves to be in there. The only ones that I haven't seen out of this list so far, what's the Paul Thomas Anderson one?
Phantom Thread.
Phantom Thread I haven't seen yet. I missed The Post. I'm going to see that soon. And Florida Project. All of them I have. Florida Project I think I'm going to watch tomorrow.
Downsizing? You saw that?
No, I missed that one. But the rest of them I've seen. So, and they're all really quality films.
Yeah, the Downsizing one is the most surprising one to me. I haven't seen it, but it hasn't gotten great reviews thus far, and so this is kind of the outlier with that. But everything else, so happy to see a movie like Baby Driver and especially Get Out be recognized amongst these typical Oscar fares that have been released more recently that you would expect for award consideration.
I wonder if that's going to mean a change in general for the way. I mean, maybe because eventually, with academies and as people get older, the consensus will change, right? Like maybe not today, but our generation will eventually be the older Academy people, and what will we be voting in? So maybe something like this encourages me when Baby Driver and Logan and movies like that are getting nominated or excuse me, put up here. Does it mean that it necessarily is going to happen at, say, the Oscars? No, but it would be cool, and it would be I think it would be a nice statement for the Academy to say, you know what, we're not just a bunch of old farts that do this, because that's not the case when you look at it. It isn't. When you look at what each nominating board does for their own peers, and it's just, I think that sometimes people try to be like a little too, I'm going to pick all the artsy ones here because that's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
But then you get movies like this, like Baby Driver and Logan, and I hope that we see them and Get Out. All three of those movies, I hope we see them in.
I was going to say, I mean, some films are coming out even later. Like, I just got a chance to see Victoria and Abdul with Dame Judi Dench, directed by Stephen Frears.
Great.
It's phenomenal. I mean, it is an Oscar contender. So, and it's not out yet. I just saw the premiere, and Judi Dench was there, and it was great, but I was like, how come no one's heard about this?
Yeah,
no
I
one's
heard
talking
about that movie over
film.
Thanksgiving from my inside source in Hollywood.
Right.
My mother had seen that movie. She said it is unbelievable, and she loves watching all the Oscar movies and stuff. So she'll probably stay awake during Phantom Thread. And when you look at the diversity of movies that are being offered as far as the National Board of Review, there is one movie that I've not yet seen that I'm hearing good things about that has not been released yet, that is not on the National Board of Review. It's a little movie called The Last Jedi. But hey, they don't screen it ahead of time, so they didn't get in time for the National Board of Review, but I think maybe it could have made some top 10 lists and Best Picture, Christian George. Ashley, you see this list. What stands out to you on this list? And I also want to get your take for your favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, no, I agree with what all you guys said. I love how diverse this is. It's not one noted. It's not like one genre. It's not the super artsy films. It's kind of all over the place, and I love that. Favorite movie of the year, I'm gonna have to go with Get Out. And when I first saw it, I was like, there's no way it's gonna be nominated. It's too early on in the year, but it came out February, I think. So I'm excited to see it up there.
That's right. And when you see a movie like that, or like Logan, or even Baby Driver get mentioned in these kind of lists, it means that people are remembering it when it counts. And I think that really helps out, whether it's Golden Globes or it's the Critics' Choice Awards, and then we get into the Oscar season. So it doesn't matter how hard the studios campaign necessarily. If other groups are picking it up and talking about it, that really starts to trend well, and you can read some tea leaves for the Oscars and say, we could have these kind of movies nominated for Best Picture. The Post being their favorite, very interesting. The embargo is still up on The Post, but it's very, very interesting. Okay, we are going to move on to buy or sell. This part of the show, we're going to say whether we buy or sell whatever the hell Ashley wants to talk about. It probably involves some location in Vegas.
Oof, well, after allegations of abuse by Johnny Depp against Amber Heard that led to a very famous and public divorce, many have been calling for the character he plays in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, that of the Dark Wizard Grindelwald, to be recast. Now speaking with EW about the sequel Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, Yates has come to Depp's defense, explaining why the role won't be recast. Yates said, "With Johnny, it seems to me there was one person who took a pop at him and claimed something. I can only tell you about the man I see every day. He's full of decency and kindness, and that's all I see. Whatever accusation was out there doesn't tally with the kind of human being I've been working with. By testament, some of the women in Depp's life have said the same thing. That's not the human being we know. Johnny isn't in that category in any shape or form. So to me, it doesn't bear any more analysis. It's a dead issue." Christian, do you buy or sell the comments from David Yates about Johnny Depp?
It's a tricky one. I buy it, and I buy it and sell it at the same time. It's weird because I buy it in the fact that this is a director who is going to bat for maybe someone he's worked with, someone that he truly believes all these things with. It's not a matter of like, well, we cast them, we're screwed now, because if they wanted to, they clearly could. They could have recast them. They could have done some different things. I mean, look at what Ridley Scott just did. You know, so they could have done that. So there is the thing that I sell is the fact where he's like, it's just like one person taking a shot at him. And you dig a little deeper, it looks pretty condemning, some of the things that he was accused of. But the other side of that he should have thrown in there too is that, well, we also cast him as the villain. So if you want to hate him, good, he's the villain. But you know, overall, it's hard because we don't know for sure what happened. So this is the director who is saying, I don't know what happened for sure. No one has been convicted of anything. No one has been. It is a he said versus she said thing. This is the person I know, so I'm going to choose to defend him, which is his right to do. So as a director and as his friend, I buy it, but little of the wording I sell.
Well, it's a tricky thing, too, and I'm not going to hold anybody's feet to the fire on this show. Like, you have to buy or sell these comments because we don't know the extent of what this issue is, but it is very muddy because you did have allegations from Amber Heard against Johnny Depp initially, but the most recent statement that came out was a joint divorce announcement from the both of them that mentioned something about how at times their relationship got intense or passionate, but nothing was ever filed out of greed or trying to get money out of somebody. So it seemed like things were copacetic, and either that's really the case or it's they came to some sort of private settlement that they don't want out there in the public anymore. So for that, but that's not for me to say. Right. If somebody's not going to continue to say, no, this actually happened and we're just going to try to move on with our lives, then it's hard for us as the public to sit back and judge. And the last thing that anybody wants to do is just do finger wagging it just for the sake of doing it because we heard this one thing that this person now has taken back as far as a public statement goes. So if you have claims against somebody and they're still out there, then that's one thing. But if you make a public statement and you say, no, it didn't go down like that anymore, or you lead us to believe that, then it's harder for us to judge. And to be honest, it's not up to me or anybody on this panel or even David Yates to say, no, this is actually what happened. That's between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And according to their most recent statement, they don't want us talking about it anymore. So we are going to move on. Now, as far as David Yates' comments go, I'm all for him defending his actor. I'm sure that he has a great relationship with Johnny Depp and that he wants him to continue. So that's fine for him to say. But in the same way that Savannah Guthrie can come on the NBC Today show this morning and say that Matt Lauer is one of my dearest friends, that's fine. But I don't care about that. And I don't care about David Yates' relationship with Johnny Depp when it comes to what him and his wife went through. That's between them. And if they don't want to make it public, who cares about somebody else making a statement saying, oh, no, I worked with this guy and he seems like a good egg. I don't care about that, Schnepp.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you. I have to sell David Yates' comments. I love him as a director, but he took the wrong tactic as far as what he said. Or I think it was a faux pas for him to be like, I see him every day. It's like, guess what? You could live next to a serial killer and a murderer. Right. I see him. He takes my kids out and, like, you know, he's really friendly with my dog. He walks my dog. Murdered 100 people. I mean, it's like you can't make those kind of blanket statements. It seems very just disingenuous or just kind of like, oh, you also sleep with a sheet over your head. You know, it's like,
I understand the need or I guess the desire, because if anybody's friends with someone and then news comes out about them, you want to say, look, A, I didn't know about this, and B, I always, like, you can only share your own experience.
Right.
But when your own experience does not get close to what went on between somebody and somebody else in their private lives, it's hard for us to care.
He should have just said that. He shouldn't have said somebody took a pop at him. He shouldn't have involved himself in the relationship.
Well, you definitely shouldn't have said somebody took a pop at Johnny. That's just the wrong way to go about that.
Yeah, I just think it was like, I get what he was trying to say. He was just trying to say, I have everyone we know has always loved Johnny. He's very fun and a very nice guy. And all the women who also kind of chimed in and said that he's been in previous relationships with. But his and Amber's relationship was volatile. We'd hear about it all the time. They were throwing stuff at each other. There's videotapes you could watch. The dogs, remember they almost had their dogs, you know, killed because they were smuggling them. A whole bunch of dumb stuff happened in the relationship. It's like, look, they made a video. They're like, we're both idiots. We're saying it's over. You just got to leave it at that. Sometimes adults are idiots, you know.
Well, but he's right though. When you look at what Yates said, I mean, Yates it was almost as bad as saying, well, he never hit any one of us.
Yeah,
you know. So that's kind of what you're saying there, and it's like there are ways. I think that what he was doing as a general protecting his soldier, but I think that there was probably a better way to do it, because what you're saying, what he should have just said was, look at the statement that they just put out, they both have said basically what you just said. Is that the two of
David Yates? I'm not trying to take your job.
No, but I'm serious.
I don't want to direct your movie.
But that's what he should have said. He should have said the two of them have come to an agreement. It's their business to do. There's no there are no charges against anybody right now, and because of that, we have decided to move on, and you should too. I think that would have been a lot more accepting as opposed to, well, I believe him, because you don't know what happened.
Plus, remember, these kind of comments, maybe he was just talking off the top of his head. I don't know if it was a prepared release statement.
Right.
I don't know how. Sometimes it's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. People say things and they're like, take it back. Like, oh, well, I'm working with him. He's a good guy. It's like, it's so difficult to judge these kinds of statements.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the hesitation I have with these kind of stories is because you see so much come to light virtually every day now about, a group or an individual coming forward about some predatory monster or this happened to me in the past. And one of the constant threads that you see is that you had to sign some sort of non-disclosure and people actually breaking their non-disclosure.
Yeah.
So my fear is that there was something where Amber Heard felt pressure to sign something and make a joint custody statement. I hope that's not the case. But again, that's not for me to look at this and say, oh, that's definitely what happened. So now I'm going to say everything that she had said before, that rumors that I've heard are going to be stone cold fact either.
Yeah.
So David Yates making this statement, do you think that's just a director trying to do good by his cast, or do you think that it was very unnecessary for him to jump in at all?
Well, I understand him making a statement, but the statement just doesn't have to be this long. This was a little bit too much in depth, and just because you don't know someone in a certain light doesn't mean that they're not capable of doing such things. So I think he should have just left it to be a little bit more general and say, I can go only based off the person I know. Done. No, like, well, she said this and he said this. Just like, stop getting into details because you don't know the entire story. And just because you don't know someone like that doesn't mean that they're not that person.
That's right. All we know about Johnny Depp in the Fantastic Beasts movies, it was very weird to see him at the end of the first one. We're like, really? All right. Then we saw that picture. We're like, I guess we're riding this horse for the next movie. Anyway, the Grindelwald movie comes out soon, and all right, we're going to move on to the next story, and that is going to involve something that is a trailer that's not quite going to get as many eyeballs on it as the Infinity War one, but it's still something we should check out.
20th Century Fox has released the first Love, Simon trailer. Based on Becky Albertalli's novel, the film follows 17-year-old Simon Spear, played by Nick Robinson, who is currently grappling with how to tell his family and friends that he's gay. He's also working to identify an anonymous classmate he's fallen for online. The film opens on March 16, 2018, and also stars Catherine Langford, Alexandra Shipp, Tony Hale, and Jennifer Gardner. Mark, buy or sell the first trailer for Love, Simon?
Oh, it's a huge buy for me. I mean, when I was watching this movie, I couldn't help but think of shades of Call Me By Your Name, which is something that I got to check out recently. Was very, very moved by that movie. And then this is a film that takes place in America, and seeing Nick Robinson, Catherine Langford also looks really good in this movie. And what somebody goes through who is holding back a secret, regardless of what that secret is, whether it's about your sexuality or something else that you're feeling that you just don't feel comfortable expressing to your classmates or even to your parents or your friends. It's just such an emotional journey for the audience to take, but also for the actor portraying it. And Nick Robinson looks really up to the task in this movie. Kristian, was he one of the people on the short list to play Han Solo? Because I'm watching this movie and I'm like, this could have been a young Han Solo.
I'm not sure. I mean, he was in the last Jurassic World, the Jurassic movie. He's
kind of the douchey older brother in here, and now he really stepped up.
No, he looks great in this movie. This movie looks good. It's by for me. Also, Greg Berlanti is directing it. Also, who is known, again, talk about people who are doing stuff that they're not known for. He's done all the superhero shows on what, CW?
CW, yeah.
So to see him doing this movie, and it just kind of reminds me of what Adam McKay did with Big Short, in where there's a particular novel that he liked, and he volleyed for it and wanted to get it. And I feel this is the same thing that happened with Berlanti. I guess I'll read interviews that say that that's true or not. But the tone seems good. It seems more like a coming of age story than just one particular message film. It seems like a love story more than it just seems like an agenda film. So yeah, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, it's a love story and just something where somebody's like really discovering more about themselves, even as they reveal themselves to the world.
I think that there's ways to tell stories that you can, whether we're in an age that's very politically correct. And I think that there's sometimes that people could see like, this is just another way to push a particular agenda or say a certain message. And I think that there's a way to do that, but also to tell a good story. Right. And I think to get people to be engaged, like you just mentioned before, was Call Me By Your Name. That movie's a movie about acceptance in general, acceptance with yourself, acceptance with life. And it doesn't matter if it's he, she, he. It's just a matter of being. And I think that that's what this movie is ultimately trying to do. We'll see when the movie comes out. out.
2 buys already. Ashley Mova, you checked this trailer out during our... No, you actually, you did your homework and actually watched
I did, but I watched it
did.
again with you. I really liked it. I think it's obviously really current, really with the times, especially with him falling in love with someone online. I love seeing the girl from 13 Reasons Why in there. I hope she does more stuff, but yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, it's a story that, Schnepp, I know a lot of people were talking about this movie getting greenlit in the LGBTQ community because it's something that they felt very personal about when they experienced it, and now a larger audience is going to get to check it out in March. How do you feel about the trailer?
I love the trailer. I felt it was very naturalistic, and it wasn't pulling on heartstrings or trying to make like a case out of this kid being gay. It just felt like, oh, this is a dilemma, and almost had a nice, lighthearted, almost very youth culture style film, but with an agenda, and not like an agenda like, oh, you know, more like a realistic story is what I'm trying to say. I felt like I just saw Lady Bird, and I thought that really hit me in a real way, where I felt like, my God, I felt like I just saw a real movie. There was no special effects. It was really about emotions and people, and I feel like this can be that film. I think it looks great.
All right, you heard it from Jon Schnepp first. Love, Simon is going to be 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe not. We have another movie that we're going to talk about that might not be 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. In the words of a famous man, zoinks.
Variety reports that a new movie featuring Daphne and Velma, the teenage girl sleuths from Scooby-Doo, are getting their own origin story in a live-action feature-length film. From Jennifer and Ashley Tisdale's production banner, Blondie Girl Productions, the movie tells the story of Daphne Blake and Velma Dinkley, 2 mystery-solving teens who try to uncover the reason why the school's brightest students are disappearing only to emerge again in a zombified state. The film is currently shooting in Atlanta and is set to be released by Warner Brothers Home Entertainment in 2018. Kristian, buy or sell a Daphne and Velma origin story?
Oh, boy, that's a new look for... boy, there it is.
The rat is hungry.
All right. Doesn't look strong like a buy.
I'm gonna go ahead and sell this one. This is no, thank you, sir. Move along. I'll have something else. Why? Why do we need this? It's like, no. Who needs this? It doesn't matter if it's. I don't want Shaggy to have his own movie. I don't want Fred to have his own movie. And I don't want anyone to have their own.
Scooby-Doo should have his own.
I don't want the whole damn Scooby-Doo cast to have their movie anymore. It's like, it's over. Who cares? Who's next? Barney and Wilma? No thanks. Bye.
Flintstones movie did very well in the 90s. Both of them did. And we did have Scooby-Doo movies starring friend of the show, Freddie Prinze Jr., amongst other people. I see a reason for this movie, and when I first saw the story, I was like, that's an easy sell. I don't care about that. And then hearing what it's for and who it's going to be aimed for, it's going to be aimed more for teens, but this is also the reason why you make this movie if you're Warner is because if it is successful and it is funny and has some sort of interesting and it gets some audience appeal, it can relaunch more Scooby-Doo movies, and you can have this whole other shared universe. So, in a very strange universe, Mark Ellis is going to give the Daphne and Velma movie the green light. I'm buying it, Schnepp. Do you think the students are actually zombies? Because every episode of Scooby-Doo, it turned out, oh no, there's just a guy in a mask, and he was the monster. So is there just is Mr. Withers from the old amusement park just feeding these kids bath salts, and then they're turning into zombies like at the moment, then they're going to turn back into humans? And that's what Daphne and Velma have to say. So I think that's the movie that we're getting.
Well, I'm going to have to call Jeremy Johns to see if this is a porn or something, because it's like, is this a real picture? Are those the people who are in it? Because this looks,
well, no, that's your go-to.
All right, I mean, I'm just saying, it looks totally fake. It looks like one of those like weird like Scooby-Does or something. Like it was like some
Scooby-Does.
Yeah, it's like it
just got to be a Scooby-Doo adult film out there.
It just looks, you know.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, you know, for all you young kids who think they're hot, rock and roll, you know. I mean, they are beautiful. I love Scooby-Doo. It's a beautiful cartoon.
So you're buying or
I don't know what to
selling
say. Totally selling this. Absolutely selling this 1,000%. You know, I'd rather see a Scooby-Doo live action movie and like just let them smoke their pot and do their thing.
This could be a setup for more Scooby-Doo.
There you go, Mark. You see it.
I'll see if anybody else wants to buy it. Haters Corner.
What is this?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, is it going straight? It's like home entertainment, so it's only going to be.
It
on
hasn't
DVD?
been announced whether it's going to be released in theaters or like direct to video, but it might be because it's released under the Warner banner, it could have a number of different implications. But if it's Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, it leads one to think it might be like direct to video.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to make spin-off films that if it goes to Warner.
No.
Warner Brothers.
If people download it, they could make more Scooby-Doo movies.
Well, I know
for the
you're
kids at home.
downloading. If that's just one person.
Look, I'm buying this damn movie, okay? And in the words of the theme song, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We've got some work to do now. So Daphne and Velma, we got some work to do, and that is set up a new universe for Scooby-Doo. Were you guys cool with Scrappy, or did you, when he showed up?
Hated Scrappy.
He's a real prick.
Who's Scrappy?
He's his nephew.
Yeah, exactly.
He's Scooby-Doo's nephew, and he's just a little too peppy for everybody else. And when I was a kid, I rooted for him because he seemed like the underdog. And then I went back and I watched some Scooby-Doo because I got a niece and nephew, and they're starting to get into it. And Scrappy, too, just...
Too much.
Just turn it down,
yeah.
okay? We get you want to solve mysteries. We have a crew that does that. They've never not solved a
It's
mystery.
like Roka during the Schmodown.
Unnecessary?
Yeah.
Okay, hey, he said it, not me, outlaw. Baby carrots here. Remember that time at Beach? Okay, we are going to go on to Mailbag, and then we're going to take some of your live Twitter questions. You can start tweeting us right now at Collider Video. And in the meantime, I want to remind you guys that later on today, we're going to have a very, very special episode of Collider Heroes, hosted by that sweaty gentleman right there.
200.
This is number 200?
200. It's got
What
a bit.
a way
Yeah.
to ring in number
Can I
200
tell
with
you?
the new Infinity War trailer.
I have no idea how many episodes. How do you? I don't know how many episodes Jedi has. How do you do
Every
that?
time I do my show notes, I put the number next to it.
Really?
That's the only way I would
So
ever
it's
know.
possible that this could be like 201 and you miscounted one somewhere.
You know what? If you count some of the specials or the one-offs, hell yeah, I think we're a few. We could be a few up. But I was like, look, that one special that we did, or the All Doctor Strange episode, or whatever. I was like,
Math is not a strong suit. I hate to be around Christian at a birthday party. Like, hey, I'm turning 50. Are you really 50? You sure you're not 51, 50? You look older than 52.
Yeah,
true.
it's pretty close to almost 99% accurate. So there could be 201. Some
it's a fake
sweaty. Just
birthday.
go add all those up. You know.
Fake birthday.
But we got a bunch of
congratulations.
we got a bunch of
either
guests.
way, this is like sometimes people take an entire month and they make their friends take them to Applebee's every day for their birth month. So this is happy 200 month.
Yes, and we've got a ton of guests who are going to be on the show, so it'll be a lot of fun.
And very nice job of Christian working a plug for his show, Jedi Counts, which you guys can catch tomorrow. Some very exciting Star Wars news to talk about this week as well. And we also have the top 50 superhero movies continuing to roll on. A new episode dropping this morning. Go on there, weigh in on what your take on the movie that we talk about was. And with that, we are going to go to live Twitter questions. I guess let's do mailbag.
All right. Erica writes, I recently read the comments made by Daniel Day-Lewis about his decision to retire, where he essentially said he wanted to put out a statement and draw a line so he wouldn't get sucked back into another project. He also said it was on Phantom Thread that he realized he wanted to retire and won't see the movie because it's tied to that decision.
Now I really want to see it.
So my question, is this the end for real? No more Daniel Day-Lewis movies?
Erica, it's tough because when we heard he was retiring, I immediately thought of my favorite great athletes of all time that retired and then started getting a little bored and were like, no, I think I still got some juice left in the legs. And you see Brett Favre and Michael Jordan, they can't quite hang it up yet. And I think Daniel Day-Lewis might end up being one of those guys, but I think he doesn't want to be bothered, is what this sounds like, Christian. Is that I think when an actor retires, that's them saying, hey, directors or writers or studios, stop coming to me and asking me if I want to do this movie or this project, or stop trying to woo me out of retirement. I'm going to take my time, and if I make the decision on my own that I want to jump back into those waters, I will do so and then see what's available to me. How do you see it, Christian?
I think that it probably has a lot to do with his family life as well, because the difference is with Daniel Day-Lewis as opposed to other actors is that he becomes the character. And if you look at that documentary that's out right now with Jim Carrey when he became Andy Kaufman,
it's so
I haven't
good.
seen it yet,
Yeah.
but from everything that you hear, but he became Andy Kaufman. That was just one-time preparation that what he did, okay? Daniel Day-Lewis does that on every role. His wife was living with Abraham Lincoln. She was not living with Daniel Day-Lewis. She was living with Abraham Lincoln. At that point, I understand where she's just like, no, stop. Just stop. Just
It was
stop.
kinky for a night.
But it's like, so I think after a while, his approach is a little bit more, it's more involved. It's more exhausting. I think that he will step back for a while. I do not think he will retire, because the difference with like a Gene Hackman or Jack Nicholson or Sean Connery, they retired a little later in life.
Mm-hmm.
He's only, what, 60?
Right.
60 something like that. So I think that we might see in a few years that he might want to step back. It's very possible that this could be it for him, because he's one of those guys that he doesn't really have anything else to prove. And if he's got money for himself, then he could sit back and retire and be fine.
But Schnepp, does the fact that he said that I'm drawing a line and this is why I retired and I am officially retired, does that kind of make him more hesitant if he did want to come back? That, well, I already said this and I don't want to go back on my word. Do you think that that's his bond, or that if he does hear of a project that he really wants to be involved in, he will take it?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, he's creating a line in the sand for himself. Like Anthony Hopkins retired, and then look, he's Odin. He didn't never retired. He was like, I'm done with this. Flipping tables. 2 years later, he's in like 40 films. I don't, Jay-Z, nobody really retires. They're just like, look, I need a break. And the only way they can actually really get a break from whatever, if they're super popular and well known, is like to actually say, I retire, leave me the hell alone. And then, all right, he's retired. And then someone's going to give him a script, and he's going to be like, I have to do this. He's an actor. He's a method actor. He lives to be another person, to put on a mask. I mean, I'm glad you brought up the Jim Carrey documentary. Wait till you see it. I hate Jim Carrey now. It's like he's so up his own ass, and he's such a self-involved.
Yeah.
What a horrible person. So it was kind of fun to see that, because I loved all his other films, and that didn't take anything away. I was like, wow, he's so insecure and weird. I felt really bad for him, but also for anyone who has to work with him. So it was like one of those, you got to see it. I mean, it's one of those you have to see films,
right.
Have your own opinion, but. For Daniel Day-Lewis, I don't think he's retired. I think he's retiring for himself until he decides to come out of retirement.
I would love to see him come back in like 3 years, but he also comes back and does like a Farrelly Brothers movie.
That would be amazing.
Like some ridiculous Adam Sandler movie cameo.
Like something, not even a cameo, like a full-on role, but it's just something you would never expect him to do. Like something so stupid, and you're like, well, wait a minute, he's coming back to do the Farrelly Brothers movie? What? What's happening here? That'd be interesting.
Ashley, do you think he's staying retired, or do you think he's coming back?
No, I think it's a lie. Everyone says that they're going to retire like 50 times before they actually retire. But with him saying that he's not going to see Phantom Thread, I think that's hilarious. Like, if people start to say, oh, that movie sucked, like it wasn't as good as I was expecting, he's going to be like, well, I didn't see it. I have no comment to make because I didn't see it.
Very interesting. You see, giving himself his own out in case he doesn't get nominated for an Academy Award.
I didn't see it, so I don't know.
Okay, so, I mean, a lot of actors say they don't see their stuff, but it was weird to be like, oh, while I was on set, I realized I don't want to do this anymore. It's like halfway through your set, just being like, I don't think it's not going the way I wanted to tonight. I'm just going to drop the mic and walk off.
20 minutes, you do 4.
All he was thinking of was, I got to cobble shoes. I've got to cobble. That's all he was probably thinking of, so that's why.
Okay, so I'm going to set the bar at 10 years. So, Ashley, you think we're definitely going to see him back in a movie under 10 years? 10 years.
Way under 10 years.
Under 10.
Okay. I'm saying he's done.
Oh, okay.
Saying he's done. It's done for good. I trust you, Double D. Don't let me
down. He comes back in the Thelma and Louise movie that we just talked about.
It's not Thelma and Louise.
No.
It's Daphne and Velma.
Oh.
And if Daniel Day-Lewis shows up, he could be old Mr. Withers,
Perfect.
who runs the amusement park. And
If it wasn't for you kids, I would have been cobbling my shoes.
Let's get on to some live Twitter questions that don't involve bath salts.
The Zynga guy says.
No.
Okay.
Matthew Smith writes, with the release of the Infinity War trailer, do you think it means anything that Hawkeye is not in the trailer?
See, I thought I saw a scene of Hawkeye, then I'm like, no, it's a little too shredded to be Hawkeye, so that was Thor like looking off into the distance, but we didn't get the reveal of Thor's face until the end. It could be. I mean, I think it was Perry who predicted that Hawkeye wasn't going to make it out of this movie alive, but do we really not see Hawkeye?
I thought we saw him in the other one.
We did. We definitely saw him in the other one.
You saw him another one.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. I went to D23. It's a convention.
Oh, okay.
The Disney.
Yeah, Ashley, this is the thing he keeps bragging about all the
Yeah,
time.
I
Like
saw
you
the
saw
other
that.
trailer.
I
It was
saw the
really good. I saw the
Incredibles
other
2
trailer.
extended cut 2.
To
Yeah,
your
that's
point,
Mark
I've
Ellis.
always wanted a Camaro Z28.
And that's what I hear. No, your point. That's what you sound like.
Do you want to see Hawkeye? in this
No,
movie?
leave me alone. I do want to see Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, played by Daniel Day-Lewis. All right, let's do one more question, and we will call it a day.
Oh my gosh, one more question.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Pressure.
Stephen Grant writes, can you recommend any Christmas set horror movies for these long, cold winter nights?
Yeah.
What?
Love Actually. Is that what you said? Christmas movies?
Christmas horror movies.
Love Actually.
I guess it is a horror movie in a way.
Yeah.
You know, it's the season of giving, and sometimes you meet somebody, you're smitten with them, and then you fall from then, oh no, I got to spend the rest of my life with you. That could be a horror premise. I would go with Silent Night, Deadly Night. There's like 7 of them, and it's great. It's one of the coolest movie posters ever because it's like the chimney, and then it's Santa coming down, but you also see like an axe, and it's like, oh, he didn't bring presents.
Yeah.
And then obviously Gremlins, which is a great movie, starring start to finish with one of the weirdest, most random, should not have been in the movie, but you can't take your eyes off it scenes with Phoebe Cates describing the death of one of her relatives. Holy crap. Why is that in the movie? Jon Schnepp.
Rare Exports and Troll Hunter and Bad Santa 1 and 2. I would rock all 4 of those.
That's comedy.
Well, it's a horror comedy.
Horror? All right. I guess if you think that he's a good guy,
Yeah.
but I think that I wanted Krampus to be good, and it
Sucks.
There's good parts of Krampus.
It
sucks.
sucked.
Movie sucks. No, I don't know anything about horror, so.
Okay, Ashley, you like the true crime. You like the Saw.
I do. I really do. It's hard for me to think of a horror movie with a Christmas setting, but this past year, Happy Death Day came out, and I think it's good for Christmas because it's like a fun setting, but it's still kind of scary, so it makes it good for Christmas.
Yeah, and it's probably in a dollar theater right now. It's in that weird spaces between dollar theater and video on demand. And then also something you can check out. It's a great Christmas movie, and it is kind of a horrific premise. Is that there's this movie about this guy, and I can't remember the name of it, where he goes to visit his like estranged wife in Los Angeles, and she is working for this big Japanese corporation in this big hotel.
I was going to mention it.
And you've seen this movie?
I've seen the movie.
I can't remember the name of it, but like he is this cop from New York, and he goes there, and then
has an Ellis in it.
It has it got a guy named Ellis in it, and then these like evil like German terrorists take over.
Wait, this is like the third in a trilogy, right?
The
It's the
name
first. It's called Hans Booby.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Okay.
Hans. Make sure you guys check out Hans Booby this Christmas. It's a great movie. And with that, we are going to say goodbye to a great episode of Collider Movie Talk. What number episode is this? We have absolutely no idea. Look at all the guys waving. That's Kristian Harloff over there. And then you got your Jon Schnepp. And then you have Ashley Mova. You know what? Because it's Wednesday. I'm Mark Ellis. I'll see everybody in Boston this weekend at the what's the name of the Springfield College?
Funky.
Yeah, Springfield College. So
Jambles.
If you're a student at Springfield College, I'll be doing stand-up there. If you're not a student there, maybe they'll let you in, maybe they won't. I have no idea how it works at the colleges. You want to do the Wednesday thing?
Happy Wednesday, guys. I was thinking about The Simpsons.
Oh,
The Simpsons. Happy Wednesday, guys. Bye.
We're just gonna go ahead and
Bing!
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.